I almost forgot to take my liners out, and that was gonna be a catastrophe. Hang on. Welcome to the video. Hi, my name is Autumn. I'm a reader and a writer, and today I am going to be reacting to my TBR from 2025. I created, as we all do, a TBR for 2025. So we're going to react to the 12 books that I want to read in 2025, and then we're also going to react to the 5 series that I want to read in 2025.
First honorable mention is If We Were Villains by M.L.
I didn't read it.
The next honorable mention that still has the Target sticker on it. I didn't take it off, but it is I Feed Her to the Beast, and the Beast is Me.
I did read this one.
Shag. This one is
This was a really good book.
The final honorable mention before we get to the meat and potatoes of this video is Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony
I did not read this one.
I have read All of the Light We Cannot See by the same author. First book up is The Familiar by Lee Bardugo.
I read this one. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. It wasn't my favorite book, and it wasn't my favorite book by this author.
It's The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I got it for my birthday, and I'm very excited. I am on hold for the audiobook through the Libby app.
I did read this one, and I really liked it. I gave it either a 4 or a 4.5 star.
The next book up, we are coming in with a different genre, which is The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. I love this author. I've only read one other.
I did read this book, and I think I gave it 5 stars. I think this was a 5-star read because I loved this. I'll never forget the ending, and my reaction to the ending was wild.
The next book up that I actually got off of Pango is The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Bowley. I know that there is a murder plot line, and
I did read this book. This was phenomenal. I gave it a 4.5 star. I really liked this book. I really loved this book, and I really feel like I learned a lot. There was a lot of terminology I had never heard before, I wasn't too familiar with, so I was able to do a lot of research on my own, and I learned a lot. I thought that that was incredible. I really loved this book.
You guys have no idea how much I've been wanting to read this book. We'll just go ahead and say what it is. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
I read this book. I gave it 5 stars.
Next up, we have Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Very excited for this one. I really wanted to read this book in 2024, but I just ran out of time.
I did read this one. I gave it 3.5 stars, I think. I really loved the atmosphere. I really did enjoy the characters. There were a couple of things that I just didn't quite jive with, but I do think that it's a very beautiful story, and I will definitely give the author another shot.
The next one up will be a book I read in 2025, but I think this will be one I read a little bit later into the year. It feels like a book that needs to be read maybe at the end of the summer or kind of early fall time, but it is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I have yet to read a book.
I read this. I read this and I loved it. Yeah, I gave this 5 stars, and it's really funny. So I guess at this time last year, like at the end of 2024, I hadn't read any Brandon Sanderson books, and by the end of 2025, I had read 4 Brandon Sanderson books. So that's pretty crazy.
Book by this author, but I have hopes that this is going to be my year of Brandon Sanderson. This book follows our main.
Oh honey, it was.
One up is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I
read this one too. I had a lot of fun. I read this I think in like March or April. I really loved it. I had a fantastic time with this one.
One book by this author, Beach Read.
I think I gave it maybe a 4 star. I think.
Got 3 more, and 2 books on this list are pretty darn chunky, which is why I haven't started reading this book.
I know exactly which 2 these are, and we'll get there.
I know I'm going to love it. I truly do know I am going to love this book, but I am terrified of it just because of how dense it is. It's almost 1,000 pages. It is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Pellani.
Okay, well, first of all, Autumn, it's Pellini. And second of all, I did not finish this book. It has nothing to do with the book, it's all me. I got to about 30% of this book, and it is a very dense book. It's very much the only book that I can read for like 2 months straight. I started reading this book, I think in either September or October, and it was not the right time. I just had too much other stuff that was going on where I couldn't concentrate on this book, and I felt like I wasn't giving it justice. I really loved it. I was talking to one of my coworkers about this book because we were both talking about books that we were currently reading, and at the time I had been reading this book, and he was like, it sounds like Venom. from, I think it's Marvel. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a superhero person, so I don't really keep up with that, so I don't really know. I was describing it to him and he was like all in, all for it. And when I was describing it, I was like, I really, really do love this book. And I love like the first 30% that I've read is so freaking good. But it's like a 33-hour audiobook. At the time, I could not spare that amount of time to a book like this, or it was like if I sat down, I really just wanted to read something a little bit more cozy, a little bit shorter. All of that to say, I didn't finish it, but I did start it.
So the second to the last one is a book I did want to read this year, but I ended up not reading it because the other book that I had read from this author, I didn't quite enjoy, and I did end up DNFing it, so I wanted to give myself a break before I went back to this author, but it is The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. This book is told by 3 different perspectives, and I know one of the perspectives is a cat.
I did read this book and I gave it 5 stars. I'm so glad I gave this author another shot because I did not like the first book that I read by this author. But this one, wow, 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 flashing stars. This was so good.
I really want to read this book and I wanted to give it a fair shot. The last book on this list is also a pretty chunky boy.
I think I said the last book twice. So who knows? My counting is always off with videos like this.
Few chunky books on this list. I also have some series that I wanted to finish too this year. I did make a separate video for that one, so I'll leave it linked down below if you're curious about 5 series that I want to complete in 2025. This book is not part of a series, but he is a chunky boy, and it is Babel by R.F. Kuang.
I did not read this book. I didn't read it just for the sheer fact of its size. I could not spare time to read chunky books. As you can see by the books that I did read and the books that I did not read in 2025. And we'll learn this a little bit more the further we get into this video. So now we're gonna talk about the 5 series that I want to finish in 2025. Oh no. So you might be thinking, wow, Autumn, you did really great. Oh, she did do great until it came to series.
Hey friends, welcome in. My name is Autumn, and today I am going to talk about 5 series that I want to finish in 2025. Some of these series I have started, but I have yet to complete. Some of these books I have read the original series. I have not completed any of the spin-off series. That is the goal for 2025, is to pick 5 series that I am in the middle of, that I have been wanting to get back to, and finish them. So the first series I want to talk about is actually a spin-off. I have read the original series, loved the original series, but have not continued within this universe, or shall we say the Grishaverse. These 2 books are Six of Crows as well as Crooked Kingdom.
So full transparency, I read Six of Crows in 2025. However, I started Crooked Kingdom in 2025 and I finished it in 2026. The date I'm filming it is January 5th. So I finished it on the 2nd of January. I didn't technically finish it in 2025. However, I have finished this series.
By Leigh Bardugo. I do know she has another spin-off series, which is King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, but honestly, I am scared to put that series on this list as well.
Smart girl, smart girl.
Only
way to know your limits and boundaries.
Because these are chunky books. I also have some other chunky books on here. Let's not overwhelm ourselves. The next series on this list may not come as a surprise. It might. So I started reading the series in 2024. I would like to read the second 2 books in 2025. The series is called The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. I have not read Ruin and I have not read Wrath.
I did read both of those books. I finished that series. It's in 2025, so we can check that off. That was legit.
So the next series on this list that I would like to finish, I read book 1, have not read book 2. This book is Vow of Thieves by me.
I did not read Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson.
It has been a hot minute since I've read this book, and I've read some other pretty...
It's still gonna be a hot minute before I read book 2.
The next book on this list, I just finished reading book 1. It's the start of a series. I absolutely loved this book. I would recommend it to anybody. And I wish more people talked about this series. I think it's a little bit of an older series. Don't quite quote me on that one. But this book is Beasts of Prey by Anaya Gray. This book follows...
It's actually Anya Gray, and I do correct myself in the video. I did not finish. I did not finish this series.
The last one on this list, which I actually don't own these books, and I don't know if I'll ever own these books. I do have the audiobook. It is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab.
I did not do this. However, I do own these books now. I asked for them for Christmas in 2025 and my folks delivered. I got all 3 of these books. I think I got all 3 of them for Christmas, but I'm actually really glad that I did because I had a creeping suspicion that if I did end up rereading these books and I just listened to the audiobook, I would have a similar experience as I had the first time. When I just listened to the audiobook, I kept getting confused. Certain things didn't quite make sense. And so I decided if I ever did reread this series, which I do want to reread it, even though I didn't do it in 2025, I think it'll be better if I have my eyeballs on the words.
I do have 2 honorable mentions because that's just how I am. But this book is Vengeance of the Pirate Queen by Trisha Levenseller.
I did read this book, so I finished this series. I feel like it was a 4-star read. I liked it. I really did enjoy it, but I remember I didn't quite love it as much as the first 2 books.
This last book could probably be a little controversial if it's going to be like completing a series or continuing with a series or not, because I think it's more of like a spin-off. Well, it might be more of a companion series. Let me know down in the comments below. This one is The Fury by Alex Michaelides.
I did read this one and I liked it. I remember not liking it quite so much as The Silent Patient. I feel like I gave it either a 3.5 or a 4-star, but I did really like it. I thought it was a good one. So those were all my reading goals in 2025 and I feel like I did fairly well. I did not get to every book on this list, even though I really wanted to, but I do think that some of those series I bit off a little bit more than I could chew. But now that I know that it takes me forever to read fantasy series, I think I need to be one of those people that finishes series or focuses on finishes series before I start new series. I mean, am I gonna do that? Probably not, because that's just how I am. But let me know how your 2025 reading year went. Let me know one goal that you have for 2026. Thank you so much for watching this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye.